No, I had some personal business this morning, and that's why I'm late this morning, but I thought I should give you some kind of an update on what the haps are with regard to the market and a few things that I think are of particular interest today. I might get to ranting again, though, because I'll tell you what, it's getting a little weird out there. But let's go ahead and just take a look. Right now, what we've got is that the markets are collapsing again. They were up nicely. Everything was doing quite well until just a little while ago. Don't really have a reason that I know of for sure. There could have been a Fed speaker out there or something, but the all of a sudden NASDAQ, Dow Jones, S&P, all of them started heading for the red zone. Dow Jones is now down 130, and the NASDAQ is still up, but only 119 after being up a couple of hundred plus. Tesla is kind of following the pack, but here was my story number one really is about Tesla, which is seemingly in a fight to hold the 298. A lot of people talked about the 298. There's the 300, which is the psychological level. Then there's the 298, which is, I think, the 200-day average. And the 200-day average right now is not holding, but that's only intraday. So we have to see what happens at 1 o'clock. But we're sitting at $296.52 right now, down $6.28. This would seemingly be just a continuation of all the things that we've been talking about for the last couple of days. Concerns. I think one way I'd like to put it is this: the perception is more important than the reality. So if I am a person who perceives that there are people in the United States or in Europe who might choose to stay away from Tesla vehicles because of recent political issues. If I perceive that that's a problem, then I might perceive that I should trim my stock holdings or that I should get out of Tesla altogether and invest in Nvidia today, for instance, before the after the market, we'll have the results, we'll have the earnings and the call. So I might perceive that that would be a better move for me right now. If I perceive that other folks might be getting out of Tesla stock because of their own political feelings, whether that's in the United States or Europe, there's lots and lots and lots of holders in Europe. Maybe I perceive that pensions or some institutional buyers will be getting out of Tesla stock because of the politics. Then if I perceive that to be true, I might also feel like I need to make a move, based on my understanding of what I think others might be doing. So then the question becomes, what are they actually doing? So that is where the real data will start to come true. So, as we go through the rest of this quarter, as I mentioned, it'll probably take us till the end of April to really know what is happening with car sales. And I'm guessing my projection is that China will be fine. In fact, ahead of last year, maybe by the end of March. It might take till the end of April for China to be ahead of last year because of all the, changeover in January, but they will eventually be ahead of last year. I think that the United States sales will be ahead of last year, maybe again by the end of April. Maybe it'll take until June, but at some point, US sales will be ahead of last year's, even before the new Model Q, whatever it's called, comes out. Now, Europe could be a different story, and maybe Europe will be enough of a drag. But don't forget that Berlin ships all over Europe and also ships outside of Europe. And it is, pretty easy to export product to places which are less concerned about the politics of the moment. Also, don't forget that the politics of the moment can change radically. So if all of a sudden Trump starts, gets his Ukraine peace deal, and actually puts together a promising future with regard to relations with Russia and Ukraine, if the peace continues to hold in Israel, if the bond market continues to rally and 10-year treasuries come down and therefore home interest rates and car interest rates come down, and if all of the things that they're doing, like oil continues to go, as I'm predicting that it will, into the middle 60s and then even into the 50s, and therefore gasoline costs less, and your interest rate on your car and house costs less, all of a sudden the consumer perception will change. I mean, you see, and then the dynamic switches, and then all of a sudden the negativity turns into positivity. And yeah, that won't necessarily stop the Democrats from yelling and screaming, but it will cause the average consumer to say, oh, wait a minute, maybe all this is okay. And wait, wasn't Elon Musk part of this change? Anyway, maybe I'm just having a bad day or a bad week or a bad month. That's not actually true. I'm actually doing fine. But the posting by leftists on X right now, they're not even trying to contemplate truth. I mean, it's really crazy. It's like, oh, well, we have freedom of expression now, so we can just post anything. It doesn't matter whether it's remotely true. And now, is anybody else seeing that? Let me know in the comments below. Are you noticing that there's a trend to where the left is just posting complete nonsense? And I'm talking about congressmen. I'm talking about mayors. I'm talking about governors. But I'm also talking about just regular folks that are posting on X, that are just posting stuff that there's no basis for. There's no basis in truth. I mean, they don't even have the ability to provide any kind of a backup or any kind of a receipt, as the current expression goes, for what it is that they're saying. I've even had a few of those people sneak into my responses on my X posting. Things like, $800 billion of the budget cut is the proposed budget cuts by the Republicans are going to go to cutting Medicare. The word Medicare doesn't appear in the bill. The Republicans are looking, I forget, it's I think $2 trillion in cuts over 10 years, not in 1 year. I'd rather have it be a 1 year, but $2 trillion in cuts over 10 years. And it just says look for cuts. It never mentions Medicare, never mentions Medicaid, it never mentions the food stamp program, it never mentions anything. It says we want to look for these kind of cuts. We need these kind of cuts in order to justify the rest of the things that we're doing in this budget. But people are just making it up. They're just making it up as they go along. So anyway, let me know what you think. What are you hearing that might be really crazy out there? Because I feel like it's worse. Maybe I'm wrong. Well, anyway, then I happened into a conversation about Tesla on CNBC's Squawk Box with John Murphy of Bank of America. The title of it is "There's a Real Issue with Tesla's Product Cadence." So John Murphy is all worried that Tesla's product line is out of date. Okay, let's see now. I'm not worried about it. Are you worried about whether the S and X are out of date? Are you concerned at all about how much S and X? No, I don't think John Murphy is either. But the Model S was just completely refreshed 15 months ago to rave reviews, to incredible reviews. It is the second best-selling BEV in the world by unit volume, by total sales dollars, also second best in the world, most markets. And the car is phenomenal, fantastic. It was the car I would buy, but I'm just saying overall, I don't, could John Murphy have a problem with the Model 3 needing to be completely 100% changed? Or is it okay that it's considered to be like maybe the best car you can buy right now? Anyway, then there's the Model Y, I think just got that same refresh. With a new exterior look, just trim changes and whatnot, but also rave reviews. And this is the biggest selling car in the world, not BEV, the best selling car period in the world. And if you talk about it in terms of dollar volume, it's not even close. And the reviews are just startling. And then I don't know, there was a completely new product last year, I think. It's called the Cybertruck. Does that not count? So then after he talks about needing to have the product change, he says that, the Squawk Box guy, I forget his name, he says, well, they got this Model Q or model, more affordable. And they're both like, well, if it comes out, it's been confirmed like 17 times. I mean, how many times does Tesla have to say, no, there's going to be. So they're like, well, wouldn't you think that we would have seen the product by now if it's really going to come out? Well, no, not necessarily. Anyway, So I don't know. So then the conversation goes on, and they're talking about the robotaxi, and the host says, "Well, I don't think that robotaxi will be out. We won't have fully autonomous driving for 5 years." And then John Murphy turns around and goes, "Well, it's not really a big deal about, about half of our value on Tesla is the robotaxi, but it's not really about the robotaxi. It's not really about the autonomous driving and the ride hailing. It's really about cars going faster. So we will become more efficient. We will get ahead of the Chinese if our cars can go 100 miles from point to point instead of 75 miles from point to point or something." I mean, my head wanted to explode. I'm listening to this. I'm like, I mean, I was just complimenting Bank of America's analysis a couple of months ago, and now I'm wondering if this guy is even on the planet. All right, then this morning on the other side, you've got a guy called the Limiting Factor, Gordon 𝐑𝐚𝐧𝐝𝐲, and he comes out with a fantastic video about a new patent that was just described last week, just published last week. I don't know if the patent has been granted or if this is the patent pending that was published from Tesla on a cathode powder. All right, and this is the secret sauce that they've been talking about that will make the 4680s the same price, landed on the factory floor price, which is the way we talk about it. If you're a manufacturer, you talk about the price landed on the factory floor. You're not interested in what is it going to cost after you put packaging on it. You're not talking about what is it going to cost after you ship it someplace. The cost of goods sold, well, yes, sometimes the packaging is included in the cost of goods sold, but what is it on the floor? What is it landed on the floor? And he's saying that he believes, or that Jordan is saying, he believes that their 4680 with this cathode powder will be the same price as the Chinese will be able to make the 4680. So that means that you can make it in the United States for the same price, and you don't have the shipping, the handling, the possible tariffs. Anyway, interesting video. You may want to check it out if you want to know all the details about how that cathode powder is created and why it's so inexpensive. It eliminates about 7 processes, and it eliminates acid, it eliminates water runoff, it eliminates moving the stuff around. It's amazing. I mean, it's really a typical Elon Musk type of product. This is Randy Kirk, by the way. Hit the like, subscribe, and notify button. I will be back at regular times later tonight. It'll be Jeff Lutz around 4:45, 5 o'clock. It will be, what will it be? It'll be Brian Wang. Last time I checked, it'll be Brian Wang at 7:45. Scott Bessent was on another interview last night, which is very similar. A lot of the same questions, but it was a good interview with Bloomberg. And he says that he believes, based on his conversations with AI people, and I've been listening to tons of conversations, just listened to another one last night with Peter Diamandis, and he believes that AI is getting close in terms of the productivity benefits. A lot of that has to do with the fact that the apps now are definitely happening, and it's getting easier and easier for companies to get access to these apps, and access to methodologies for where they can speed up their business processes. And they talked about a lot of examples. It's not Scott Bessent, but on the Peter Diamandis show, he was talking about, like writers, researchers like me being able to go and research. And I've watched Brian Wang and a couple of others, Jeff Lutz, even in the last week, where they have produced extremely detailed, 15-paragraph long articles on subject matter that they used LLMs to help them write, and it's pretty startling. Okay. Anyway, so there's a bunch of stuff like that taking place, and again, one of the big questions is, will this cut jobs, or will this just make everybody way more efficient and allow people to actually produce more than they're already producing? By the way, there was only one economic report out today, and that is on new home sales, and they tanked. They were much worse than expected by the street, and a lot of doom and gloom around that. But those were out early this morning, so that's not why the stock market's down. But there's a lot of talk about the home sales in December and January. Folks, did you remember that there was that really massive cold wave that went through the most of the United States in January? That might have something to do with it. Anyway, we'll probably find out. We'll find out and with interest rates coming down, and they've come down 50 basis points, or almost this close to 50 basis points since Trump took over. Is there maybe going to start to be more home purchasing activity with the mortgages now in the sixes? All right, so that is that. Let's take a look at how things have gone so far this morning. So you've got Tesla. See, now if we break down, remember, so we're the 298. I'm not a technical analyst, as you know, but I can read. And the technical analysts are telling me that if we close under 298, that we're probably going to 275. I've also read a whole bunch of people on X who are saying they're kind of hanging out, waiting to buy in at 275. I'm not sure, but even Larry Goldberg might be one of those who's hanging out, waiting to buy at 275. Now, generally speaking, I hear from people, like CERN Basher and others, it's like, you're never going to buy the bottom, why you, okay, but let's face it, sometimes there are just situational, anyway, a lot of people, I think, are thinking 275 is the bottom, and it's going to be a great place to buy. And so maybe those people are not buying now, which is a self-fulfilling prophecy. And so the stock is now at 295.54. Again, it would have to close under 298 in order to break through that resistance level. You have got Apple, though, is also down 6, and I haven't heard, Mr. Apple, Tim Cook, I haven't heard him making any political. Well, actually, he did make a political statement yesterday. He says he's going to invest $500 billion in the United States over the next 4 years. And I said it yesterday. I said, well, that might be kowtowing, to the new president. And other people said today, not as strong a word as kowtowing, but suggesting that, kind of cozying up to the president. Anyway, Google down a couple of percent, 2.5%. I mean, everything's going down right now. NASDAQ is down, only up 80 at this point. Dow Jones is down 184. S&P is up 6. And so but you still have Amazon. Meta, by the way, way up today. 17, almost 3% today in the opposition, going the other direction. And NVIDIA, people betting on a good result today. And, if NVIDIA has a good result, if they beat top, bottom, and guidance, you'd think that would be good for the market. But at least right now, the market is not happy. It is going south fast, and it's carrying Tesla with it. Down $8.14 at this exact moment. All right. And then at the same time, the thing that you would think would be making the markets excited is the bond market, and bonds are down. The 10-year is down 3.2 basis points. We are now at 4.069. I'm sorry, I knew that was wrong when I said it. We're at 4.266. We're only 1.6 basis points. Could happen today. We could hit 4.25, which would be another kind of one of those 300, like 300. Anyway, it'd be one of those psychological points at which if it breaks below that, we could be going to 4. And then to 375, which is where I'm kind of thinking it would be great if we could be at 375 by, say, the middle of March. That would be a real good indicator. All right. In the meantime, last time I checked, oil was also doing well today. Yes, down another 23 cents. We're at 68.70. I was I was predicting 65 by the end of the week. We'll see if we get there. 2 days to go, but we're down 24 cents. Brent is down to 72.64. Been right at that $4 difference for quite a bit now. Natural gas down 3.88%, but still hanging on above $4 at this point. You've got gold up 12, 29.30. Silver up 1.35 at 32.56, and copper up 1.10%, 1.10 at $4.53. Now, here you go. This is the one that you look at and you go, okay, a lot of people saying that Bitcoin and Tesla are following the same curves. You got Bitcoin down 2.84% this morning, down 2,518 at 85,735. No, 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 no. We're not talking about 95. We're talking about 85. Now it's 85,696. So Bitcoin may be testing, I think it's 75. Is that right? 75,000 might be one of those resistance levels. So we might be headed there. It'll be interesting to see if we do test 75. All right. So I think that's it for you right now. Again, later on today, Jeff Lutz, and then Brian Wang. And then last night was also Brian Wang. Outstanding show with Brian Wang last night. Actually, an excellent show with Nicholas Gibbs as well. I'm only going to put up the Brian Wang, though, because that is unique and special with information I think that you really need to hear. So I'm putting that card up on the Brian Wang deal last night. And by the way, the Brian Wang deal tonight, actually, I've got a pretty good idea what I'm going to talk about Jeff with, and I'm expecting that show to be potentially even newsworthy. And the Brian Wang show, maybe newsworthy too. In fact, we make a lot of news on this channel. I don't think this channel gets enough credit. I'm not talking about Randy Kirk. I'm talking about the people I have on here, which between my experience, my knowledge, the things that I've done in my life in manufacturing, my education, and their knowledge and education experience, I feel like we get to some things before other people. Let me know in the comments below if you think that that's true, that we maybe aren't getting enough credit on this channel for breaking news on a regular basis. Anyway, that's all I got for you right now. It's been Randy Kirk. I'm great talking to you.